Thank you all for coming. I'm very excited to hear about what went on at the Summer 23 Ghana tour, the Panafest. I didn't even know about the Panafest, but it seems to have been going on for decades. I just noticed that a lot of my friends were going to Ghana around this time, and I was glad that Mama Darnisha was able to go there. She led some people there, and she's going to share with us her experiences there on the continent of Africa and the country of Ghana. Mama Darnisha, take it away.
Hello, everyone. Quickly adjust my seat. It's time to get a new chair. After you sit in this chair for about 15-20 minutes, it just slowly starts moving down. Welcome, family. I appreciate you taking the time to be here with me tonight and to listen to and see some of the images from what was a really, really amazing trip over the summer. So the first slide just says, I'm not African because I was born in Africa, but because Africa was born in me. That was by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. And this is on the wall of the newly renovated Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park and Museum. And I must click there. So the tour consisted of 6 of us, as you can see here on the picture. Minister Mali, Douglas Doss, who is a local artist, his mom, Diane Doss, and Miss Marva, and myself, and our very own Celeste. And Celeste is pictured separately because she was already on the East Coast, so she traveled separate from us. So this is one of the first places that we went touring, which was the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. As you can see from the pictures in the background, the center picture is actually at one of my favorite eating places in Kumasi, a place called Las Palmas, which is a little bit kind of more like a chop shop, a more informal eating place. Then we went on to Black Star Square. You can see the ocean there in the background. There's a huge parade ground in Accra. The Black Star up at the top of the building there, you can actually climb up many sets of stairs and go to the top of that and take a picture with the flag, as you see. We went north into the eastern region we stayed overnight in a place called Kofo Ridwa. And this is a waterfall called Asima Falls. It's a really beautiful waterfall. We were able to catch a nice rainbow that day. And it was, what I really liked about this waterfall is how easy it was to access. How easy it was to access. You can see the walk as people were walking there. You know, it's a very easy walk, a very slight incline. And some of the other falls and things are a little bit more difficult to get to. This is the Krobo glass bead making. I should have shown you an example of what the completed beads look like, but when you see those thick glass beads, some of them look almost clay-like. Those are the Krobo glass beads, and the picture of the bottles are there to the left because for the most part they're made out of recycled glass. So people sell back that glass, and they melt that glass down in this very hot fire, turn it into beads, and then manually stick the hole in those beads with a device. So it's a very manual process, of course, a very hot process. This was going further north. About after we arrived at Kumasi, this is one of the attractions of the Kumasi arm of the trip. Boa being FEMA Monkey Sanctuary. It is a place where the monkeys are prized. They are You're not allowed to bother the monkeys. You certainly can't kill them. It would be the same as killing a person. When the monkeys die, they're buried in a graveyard, just like a human is buried. Um, the people who live in the village, keep all of their things open, and the monkeys are welcome to come into their homes, and the monkeys can do whatever they want, and nobody bothers the monkeys, and the monkeys don't bother anyone other than they do like to eat. They will take your bananas or peanuts or whatever you have right out of your hand, or even dig their little hands into your person and grab them, and they'll take the whole bag and run. This was also in Kumasi, in Tansu Adinkra village. So this is where Adinkra is made. Adinkra is both a type of a symbol. As you can see on his shirt there, the gray shirt, it has a number of Adinkra symbols on the shirt, as well as on all um, the sashes behind the young man in the red. But besides being symbols that have great meaning, such as the one that's on the yellow there, Jiname, which is the greatness of God, there's nothing greater than God. They all have these incredibly deep meanings. Dinkra is individual symbols that have very deep meanings. But a Dinkra is also the ink. The ink is a Dinkra. And the pounding is the pounding of the bark that is used to create the ink, and then it's cooked on these in these huge kettles, and over the number of days it gets thicker and darker until it turns into the black adinkra ink that we're familiar with. And then you can see the green string on the loom. That's what the looms look like. The adinkra is also printed onto kente. So the stoles, the sashes that's being printed, those are also kente. That's also kente weaving. So that's what the kente weaving looms look like. And Kumasi was also Lake Bosom Tree. Lake Bosom Tree was a beautiful lake up near the top of Kumasi. We went there on a day that a school was having a field trip, so that's why you see so many young people and kids out there uh, on the water. So this is a very large lake in Kumasi. Um, this is Kajita Market in Kumasi. It's the largest single market in West Africa. It is just huge. It's massive. This is just, many floors of just stall after stall after stall. And then outside on the street, just stall after stall after stall. So you could wander around for hours and be completely lost. So we were careful to follow our guide here. And then on the right is the picture of the group in front of uh, Man Mania uh, Castle, and I'm sure I've pronounced that wrong. But it is the King's Palace in Kumasi, which also houses a museum where you can see all of the old stools of all of the old kings of the Ashanti area, and really learn more about the history of that region and of the Ashanti people.
Now, can I ask you, did you see any stools that were, these are ones that are for sale, that are, big enough for a person to sit on?
Oh yeah,
And about how much are those?
I I can't tell you. I didn't ask because I knew I wasn't hauling back a great big old
Uh,
wooden stool. But the issue will not be the cost of the school stool. The issue will be the cost of the shipping. The shipping will greatly exceed the cost of the stool. Um, on to Elmina, Cape Coast region. Asan Manso, the last bath, that is, you can see Minister Mali and Celeste walking through the gates in Douglas, walking through the gates. It's a long pathway that leads you to a very sacred place for a number of reasons, not only because it was the place that many of our ancestors received their last washing and bathing after the treacherous walk that they had taken from whatever part of the continent they originated at. This would be where they were bathed, they were cleaned up, they were, shea buttered and all of that. And then also, if they had already been sold and branded. A very bittersweet place for our ancestors, but it's also a very sacred place because it's the place where two rivers, a male and a female river, meet. So very sacred place for a number of reasons. So this is us at the last bath, and I'm showing the hug there in the middle was one of those beautiful moments that I caught on camera, because Sister Diane had two sons and had lost one of them. She had twins and had lost one of her twins some years ago, and had wished to put his remains in these waters here in the homeland. And she was able to do a brief little ceremony there at the waterside, and to disperse her son's ashes. And there was a big group of young people, and it was just a very touching moment. And this picture is of this isn't, a stranger that was there, that saw her and heard the story and was there for this, sacred moment to say goodbye to her child. And the young lady just wanted to know if she could give her a hug. One of many beautiful moments caught. And then you guys see Minister, sorry, I can't control this computer. And you guys see Minister Malley over there dancing to the drums after the ceremony. This is at the Cape Coast. They call it castle, we call it a dungeon. You can see the plaque that was left there in 2009 by President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama. Just a view of what the view looks like when you look out of that door. You're looking at that bay and at the ships there and the rocks. The chain he's holding is just one of the chains that was left over that was in that place. And on the far right, we're standing up above the dungeons. And interestingly, this was above the male dungeon, but interestingly, at both of the dungeons in both Cape Coast and Elmina, right above the female dungeons, are the churches. In both instances, you literally have to walk by, a air shaft and see the horror beneath before you can walk in to have your Sunday prayer in this place.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Did I hear you say if they had been sold, they were branded?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I hadn't heard that.
Yes. Yes, they did do some branding over there. Some deals were made, already. So this is a naming ceremony. This is in Itri village. This is the village right next to one of my favorite places in Ghana, which is One Africa Resort. And this is the group having their names given. That is the king that's sitting there up above. The brother on the right in the yellow is Nana Shabazz, who is also at One Africa. And then following the ceremony, we went outside where the young people did these incredible acrobatic performances for us. So that was the day of the naming ceremony. This is Inzulenzu Stilt Village. So the Stilt Village is near Takoradi. Takoradi is the sister city to Oakland. So this is a village that's built completely on water. We took the boats, as you see there, us getting off of the boats to get to the village. It's about maybe a 30-minute boat ride on the motorboat to get to the village. Um, there's a lot of there are planks between the houses, that you walk on. But in the bottom left-hand corner is a really good example of what the living is like there and what the homes look like. Um, and lots of children. There are quite a few children there, and there is a elementary school that is there on the site. And I believe for high school, they get on a boat and they have to go outside for high school. So that was for the most part the tour, most of the tour, and then towards the end we made a slight detour from what we were planning on doing. The plan was to go to Cocoon National Park and do the canopy walk, but we went over to Mabel's Table and we met. I wanted to introduce the group to Rabbi Kohen, who is one of the people who is really instrumental in Panafest and also just a very insightful, incredible man. So he invited us all to participate in the ceremonies the following day and to ride on the boat. Those of us who wanted to, there's a boat ride that happens where you're able to ride a boat. You go through the door of no return. You board a boat, and then you take the boat from the door of no return in Cape Coast down to the Elmina dungeons, where you disembark, have a welcoming ceremony by the elders there, and then go on to do a welcoming ceremony. So we opted to change our regularly scheduled plan and instead participated in this. So this is just a schedule of the various things that happened for Panafest. It started on the 23rd of July when they did a pilgrimage from the far north. One of the oldest enslaved markets is in the far north. It's called Asin Pronto. So there is a pilgrimage from the far north. There's a laying of wreaths on the following day. There is a market pop-up, which I was able to participate in as well. Then there's colloquium, there's lecture, dialogue, and exhibitions related to it on the Sunday the 25th through it doesn't have the date, starting on Sunday the 25th and going forward. And then the ceremony that I just mentioned to you, with the writing of the return journey and the Aquaba ceremony, happens on the 26th of July. And then on Friday, there was a youth day. This is just the second page of the flyer for Panafest. On Monday the 31st, there was also a Women's Day. And the Women's Day, there was a big symposium where people talked about the issues that were of importance to women. And I didn't get to hear all of it. I actually was there selling books on behalf of Mama Imaka's. But the marriage of the young people was one of the topics that was being discussed when I was there, and that apparently marriage rates seem to be going down, and I think a lot of it has to do with the economy, and people just don't have money, and I think also having to do with some of the Western standards and needing people now feeling like they need a lot more to get married. But so the return journey, that this was the day of that return journey. This was the boat that was right next to me. I was out in the water, further out in the water when I took that picture. And you can see the dungeons there in the background that we had just left from the harbor. Rabbi Kohen, who is again one of the major organizers of Panafest from the very beginning, along with Mama Imaka's. And then our two Wose brothers there in the middle, both Brother Kwame and Brother Mali, who It was just a joy to watch the two of them interact and to go over all their recollections of Berkeley High School. So, some we thought we were at a Berkeley High School reunion. A good part of these interactions.
No.
Yes, you know it's true. You know it's true. So this is the ceremony. I will warn there is blood here and it's a sacrifice. So if any of you are squeamish about that, but this is a part of our culture. This is part of our experience. So when you get off of the boat, you see all of the people dressed in white there on the shore, waiting for you. So you get off the boat and you walk up those stairs, and all of your elders dressed in black and white are waiting there to symbolically greet you and welcome you back home. And then there is a ceremony that is performed that includes this animal sacrifice by the local priests, which is a part of the ritual related to that ceremony of symbolically coming back. And then on the far right, you see me stepping in the blood. That's part of the ritual, is that the participants then step in the blood with your right foot. You know, there are many prohibitions against your left there. You don't really use your left hand there for much of anything. So you step in the blood with your right foot, and that's part of, your participation in the ceremony. So this is the return, the welcome, the beginning of the welcome ceremony, which then ended with a great big celebration and many performances. So this is where it ended. There were all the tents set up. This is how many of the celebrations, including funerals and any other great big outdoor celebrations, these big outdoor tents. On the other side is the ocean. I took a picture of the gentleman with the gun, the old ceremonial guns, and many of the festivals and things I attended. I started getting used to hearing this great big loud gun going off. It's like you can feel it. They pack these guns with the powder and stuff, and so that is why his picture was taken. Again, Mama Imacus and Rabbi Kohang, who actually came to Ghana together many, many years ago from New York. Um, so that's the Aquaba ceremony. This is the Women's Day ceremony again. Mama Imacus and all of the ladies here just doing a welcome dance, in that circle, counterclockwise. And then the symposium. Um, I couldn't resist the reason to put these beautiful women soldiers. A number of female soldiers attended the symposium. So these are three of the women soldiers who attended. And then there was this big welcoming drumming outside when you entered the building. So this is a picture of those drummers welcoming everyone into the facility. And anyone, please feel free at any time to just chime in if you have a question. I'm just going to try to get through the
Can,
slides.
can I ask you, this is related to the dungeons and, the last bath and all that. Do you feel something when you're there? I mean, do you feel like the remaining spirits, or, it
Oh,
seemed like it would be very difficult to go there and uh,
every time I do it, I say I'm not going to do it again because it is, very emotional, and you can feel the spirit of our ancestors in these places. You can see it, you can feel it, you can smell it. So yeah, it is definitely a very emotional experience. And I find that I end up having to do it again because each group that you bring, it's a different group, and you need to kind of be there to help guide people and just kind of to observe and make sure that everything goes the way it's supposed to go. But yeah, you absolutely. How could you not? How could you be in a place that so many of our ancestors lived and died in for so many, years, and not feel it? At the Elmina at the Elmina dungeons. There's also a priest that is sometimes there in, no, not at the Elmina, in the Cape Coast. There is a priest that is also sometimes there in the dungeons, and so you will sometimes have an opportunity to interact with the priest, which, that can, that's always a personal experience as well. I've interacted with him several times.
Did anybody, Mama, pour libation while you were there?
We didn't we did not pour a libation inside of the building. I did pour libation outside, outside of the building.
Okay.
What do they say? I mean, because we usually use the Yoruba word. What do they say after they pour? Is it Ya or
I'm pretty sure it was Ashe.
really?
I think I heard them say Ashe.
Is that right?
But I'm not, the everything is done in tree. The prayers, everything it's all done in tree. So I don't understand tree. So, but I want to think, and maybe it was just me that said Ashe at the end of it. So maybe I should revise that answer to say I'm not sure.
They say amen a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
here on this was reverential night. Again, you see our brother Kwame, who is now a chief. He's Nana Kwame, and he's integral in a lot of these activities that are going on there now as well. Part of it is this bonfire is lit, and then people have a candle. You can see the gentleman here with this individual candle lit in his hand. So you get an individual candle and you light the candle. And then you have a procession that's from the shrine in the middle of town at Cape Coast. Maybe, I don't know, it felt like maybe we walked about a mile to the actual dungeons. And you had to keep your candle, lit during that. And it's a little windy, so it was a little challenge. You see how he's protecting that. It was hard to keep the candles lit. And so someone tapped me on my shoulder and asked me if I could light their candle. Everyone was relighting each other's candles. And when I turned around, I said, of course. And I turned around to light the brother's candle, lit the candle, and once it was illuminated and I looked up, it was Professor James Smalls. So that was the picture that I
Wow.
snapped
Wow.
of him after lighting his candle. So we proceeded through the town. Many, many people. There was, the streets were filled. People were on the balconies watching. And then you end up here at these dungeons. You go through, you see they kind of had the special lighting. You walk through, that arch, and then you arrive at a place where you see here all of the people seated, even people kind of up the walkways. The entire interior was filled, and then there was a stage, and there was performances, there was speeches, there was singing of the national anthem, including our national anthem was sung there. Along with their national anthem and the South African national anthem. So let's see if this works. This is about 2 or 3 minutes. This is Rabbi Kohen uh, greeting the crowd. Let's see if this works.
I'd like to begin by giving all honor, praise, and glory to the Supreme Creator of the universe, the one by whom we live, move, and have our being, and to the spirit of our great African ancestors, upon whose shoulders we stand, whose legacy we pay tribute to tonight. And I'm privileged to come behind the introduction of all of the dignitaries that are here tonight. I'm sure what a few may have not been mentioned, but I mentioned that to beg and plead to stand on the protocol of all the acknowledgement of all of the wonderful personalities and the dignitaries that have come here this evening, and in general to members of the African family and people of African descent, once again, let's give ourselves a hand and a round of applause. I don't say that lightly. I don't say that lightly because the best tribute that we can give to our ancestors is to carry on their legacy and to let them know that we appreciate the struggle that they went through so that we might be and we might live. Because many of them had a choice to surrender, to give up, to die fighting, not to die trivially, but to die fighting and resisting. But they chose not to die. They chose to be defiant in alternative ways that they might live so that we might be. And in that being, we deserve to give them the best that we are and have an opportunity to be, so we don't treat lightly the sacrifice they made so that we can be. We are supposed to be the best expression and the greatest generation of African because we are the sum total of the DNA that has manifested them here today. So all of those ancestors are supposed to be in us. So 31 years of celebrating Panafest, 25 years anniversary of Emancipation Day. Consistently, Ghana has been in the forefront of trying to make this thing work between the African family on the continent and the African family in the diaspora. That is why the Black Star remains in the flag, that this black family can get itself together and prove to the world that we can manage our own affairs and we can be the masters of our own destiny. So the things that we're doing here today, although they seem like rituals, everybody who has something worth remembering and something worth being proud of, they commemorate it with rituals. So we shouldn't count it lightly, the rituals that have become a part of Emancipation Day and Panafest. All the programs that we initiate during Panafest and Emancipation Day, it is for a particular purpose of recapturing our mind and trying to get back to the point where we left off and where we were interrupted.
So that's just a little taste of Rabbi Kohen. Always got incredible things to say. So this is Emancipation Day. This was the following day. A busload of us, pictured here at the bottom there, or a van load of us, went down back to Asan Manso. So I'm pretty sure the brother now, that the king, he is the king of the Asan Manso area, because I'm remembering now from the picture. And this is called Emancipation Day. It's another part of Panafest. And just all of the kings, all of the chiefs were there. Lots of celebrations, lots of donations. You see all the beverages donated. All of the kente and all of the gold regalia. So, and lots of performing, lots of drumming, lots of dancing. And following that, there was a ceremonial laying of wreaths across the street from this is Asan Manso, the last bath. So following all of this, there was a ceremonial laying of wreaths at the tombs. There's 3 tombs. I think one holds remains of Americans, one of Jamaicans, and I think one from there's another place. There's 3 tombs there. So they laid wreaths on the tombs, and that ended Emancipation Day. So that was kind of the last day of Panafest, and pretty much the end of our tour. So this was one of our last nights, the night before we left, just showing what a thriving community from the Bay Area is there in Elmina. I think all over Ghana. There are many of us all over Ghana, but particularly in Elmina. It's a huge population. So this was a big party that we had when I left. some of the delicious food that was cooked at the party. Y'all wouldn't believe to make all the food to cook. We fed about maybe 30, 35 people. I went shopping for all the food that morning. I spent 400 CDs to buy all of the food. That included the fresh fish that I got out of the sea, and all the fresh vegetables, everything. $40 to feed about 35 people, and the food was just delicious. Um, Up here again, two Bay Area folks at the top center, Kwame, but also you guys may have known him in the Bay Area as Michael Tab. He's known as Kofi Tab in Elmina, but he is from Marin. And has done lots of community work in the Bay Area for many decades. I knew him for many years before I saw him again in Elmina, in this beautiful facility that you can kind of see from the picture in the center is his facility. He has a beautiful place where they have what's called Thursday night game night every other Thursday, where all the expats come together. Usually it's potluck, and they have games, bidwists and spades and Uno and any other game that you can think of. And my favorite game was a game called Cash Flow, um, which had to do with how you manage money. So we would have these cash flow competitions. So that was every other week. And it's pretty much all Americans, really almost all Americans from the Bay Area, at these events. And then, uh, because again, just blessed to always be around beautiful people, I did not know Nanette. But you guys may know Nanette, the young lady at the bottom corner photo that I'm pictured with. She had children who went to Ileama Day many, many years ago. Her children are grown and are uh, out of uh, out of college now, I believe. And Nanette spends part of her year in the United States and part of her year doing community work in Elmina. And it turned out that we had Ileama Day in common. Her kids were in Mama Ashanti's class. When I called Mama Ashanti and got them to talk, she was really happy to see her. And then it turned out that we were also on the same board together for Kwame's nonprofit there. So it's just really neat the way things come together, and the way the things that you are associated with, the way that they are able to converge in the most unlikely places, so far from home. So, thriving expat community and a thriving Bay Area community. So, Mabel's Table is and One Africa are two places that many expats come to when they're there, including us. So, the picture with the green tablecloth is at the table at One Africa, and then the one that's dark in the background, that's at Mabel's Table. Both of these are oceanside resorts. Uh, One ran by Mama Imaka's, the other ran by Rabbi Kohen. They're almost next door to each other. There's a vacant property between the two. So both of them are native New Yorkers who came in 1987, and now they're really important members of the community in Elmina. Not just members of the diaspora community, but important members of the greater community as well. This is Mama Imacus's book that I've talked about in the past. It tells a story of her coming from America to One Africa, to Elmina. Uh, Kind of a sideline to the story. It tells you a little bit also about Rabbi Kohen coming over as well. But that's my shameless plug to buy her book, and she receives the proceeds for those. Right now, she lives in Rwanda, and I was really trying to get to Rwanda to see her when I was on the continent. And as the creator would have it, she ended up at One Africa for the time that I was there, so we were able to catch up and spend some good time together. Um, but I still plan to go see her in Rwanda. She says that she loves it there. So. Um, this is Kwame's family. Just wanted to share. Again, he is doing wonderful and thriving out there. Um, that is his new wife. here in the center, and his new little baby boy on her back there. This beautiful view down here at the bottom with that big bird flying is the view from the balcony. I stayed at not at his house, but the house next door to his house, which belongs to his mom, Reverend E. So it's a gorgeous, very, very modern, American feeling place. And this was the night that all the kids got in trouble and got me in trouble too, because they stayed here in my room using up all of my data on my computer, watching, educational cartoons while their parents did not know where they were at after the sun had went down. So this was the night that they all got in trouble. They're like, "Where are you? Where went Auntie Darnisha?" I said, "No, don't blame Auntie Darnisha." So, and the Central Expo, this is a trade fair that happens along with Panafest. It's not necessarily Panafest, but it happens during the week, and it highlights trade. And as you can see, there's some other folks interested in trade in Elmina. You see that sign over there? And that's me signing my name next to the characters that were already there. Uh-oh. Where did I go? So, this is the Cape Coast Festival. So the Cape Coast Festival happens at the end of August, the first week of September. Apparently, there many years ago there was some type of a plague, and the plague ended when one of the priests said that a bull had to be slaughtered, and the plague ended, the land was saved and purified, and that is commemorated that first week of September now. So I was there for that. Oh, I'm sorry, you guys. This is at the King's Palace where they were having a convening. I was really laughing at the sign. You guys see that sign? Make Cape Coast great again. So,
Oh no.
yeah, I was kind of,
Let's
I was,
go.
yeah, I was kind of tickled. I was like, we know not what we do. Um,
God.
so you see lots of dancing, lots of festivities, lots of drumming. You can see the horn blower blowing the traditional horn. That what do you call it? The throne was a gift to the king of that area, so gave them the throne with the crab, which is the symbol, of that area, with a crab footrest. So this was, I believe,
Why are they wearing red?
well, red is the ceremonial color. It's usually worn at funerals. In this case, I did ask my friend, like, even though this was not a funeral, like, why the red? And it's because of because of the festival, and because of its acknowledgement to the ancestors. And there was a sacrifice, so there was a bull uh, that was sacrificed and gave his life up not too long after this picture was taken. So that is the reason for the red. Red is generally a funerary color. So this is the following day after the all of the things that happened there at the palace, and then there was a parade with lots of drumming and dancing, and they slaughtered the bull, and then came back to the palace grounds for additional program. The following day was a parade. This was a big parade day where all the different companies, all of the different represented areas with their different colors came out and paraded. So the one in the center, they started the parade with the black. That was like I'm sure probably the head priest, but the priest started it with the green around them, the green. I won't call it shrubbery, the green plant. That's like a ceremonial plant. We were also given that plant when we did our naming ceremony. So they started it, and then you can see, oh, unfortunately, that picture cut off what I really wanted you to see, which was the chief that is in this palanque, the center one. The chief is sitting inside of that. Oh, there he is. You can see him in the back. The chief sitting in the palanque, and the men holding them up on their heads. Um, the one at the bottom, these are some of the queen mothers, again from a different area. You can tell because they've got the different colors on. So wherever you saw the same patterns of cloth, those were from one group, or the same colors. And then the one up at the top right, you know, there is a part of the story that goes with this holiday where all of the various companies, they're sent out um, to hunt a deer, and they are charged with bringing back a deer alive. And of course, the one that brings the deer back alive, is heralded, and I'm sure that there must be something that, you get the bragging rights for the rest of the year, I'm sure. But this red display kind of symbolizes that activity, that securing of the deer. And that happened like the day, either that morning they secured the deer or the day before they had secured the deer. And then these are some videos that I will show you. And I just said, I think I found the origin of Mardi Gras. It's a lot of partying, a lot of drumming, a lot of people, a lot of revelry, a lot of dancing. So that's one, and then here we Yeah, so again, I've been to Mardi Gras once, and this all was like Mardi Gras extra. It was just so many people and just so much revelry and just everybody dancing. And I had a lot of people warning me because I was taking pictures and I had my backpack on my back. I didn't really have anything in my backpack because I know all the pickpockets and stuff are out during these. So I was already pretty aware of that, and there was really nothing in my backpack because my camera was in my hand. But like one of these queen mothers like stopped me in the parade and was like, no, turn your backpack. You need to take your backpack off your back. I want you to put that on the front of you. Like one of these women, dressed up like this, like stopped me and I think it's because she saw a pickpocket near me. Um, so lots of people, like this crowd was just dense. So I found a few new partners as a result of my trip this time, and these are people who will be participating in the future tours that I do. Um, well, this partner was already a partner. This is the mayor of Takoradi. I was able to go and take a look at these restrooms that these Oakland sister cities donated to Takoradi, a Takoradi school complex 10 years ago. So I'm on the Oakland Sister Cities board and was asked to go and kind of investigate that and, go and represent the organization and take a look. And it was not pretty, but I was able to meet with the mayor. I was able to give him a beautiful T-shirt that had Oakland and Takoradi on it, and how you would have said how you would say Oakland in tree if there were such a way to say that. So that was a great experience there in Takoradi, and I'll be continuing to work with sister cities um, to revisit the improvements that we've done in the past. On the bottom left is a borehole that we sponsored, and the pump is broken off of on the borehole now, so it's not able to be used. And there needs to be a lot of work done on the restrooms as well. So um, But to the right, at the top right, you can see the harbor at Takoradi. It's also a harbor, and that's why it's a sister city with Oakland, is because of its harbor and its shipping area. This is the fishing area, but they do have a industrial shipping port. And then at the bottom is they also have a dungeon that is in Takoradi as well that I didn't even know was there. I stayed at a place there, and the place that I stayed took me here, and I didn't even know it was there. So, those are some things that I would like to add to future tours, is to make sure that we're able to go spend at least a little tiny bit of time in our sister city and perhaps see this smaller dungeon.
May
Darnisha,
I ask a
Darnisha,
question, Mama?
uh,
Yes.
can you hold your question, Mama Engina?
Yeah.
Sister Judy had her hand up. I don't know if
Okay.
she still wants to
Well,
answer. Go
well,
ahead.
I took it down. Greetings. This is a wonderful presentation. I was a few minutes late joining, but so my question I think is already answered. But where they were having the street festival and you were told to remove your backpack, was that in Tokorati?
No, that was in Cape Coast. That was at the Cape Coast Festival.
Okay, so Cape Coast, so is that how far away? And I do apologize if you already answered this. How far away is that from Accra? Accra, the
Um,
main one of the largest cities.
So Accra, from Accra to Cape Coast is about 3.5, 4 hour drive, about 3.5 hour drive.
Oh, okay. That
Yeah,
was all. Thank you.
yeah, yeah. And Takoradi is another hour, hour and a half from Cape Coast.
Right. Thank you. Mama Engina, go ahead.
Okay, a beautiful presentation. Um, when they sacrifice the bull and everything, do they cook it and eat it, or what do they do with the animals?
I didn't stay for that part of it, but just from what I understand of the culture, I would be quite shocked if people didn't eat that meat. I'm almost positive that the meat is in some way cooked and that people are eating it. I am almost positive that they are not letting that meat go to waste. But I did not see that part of it, Mama and Gina. In fact,
Okay.
even the part where they sacrificed it, I was able to film that at Panafest, but at this one, they even made the real TV cameras turn their cameras off when they did the sacrifice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Did you step your foot into the blood?
Yes, I took a picture of it. There was a picture of my foot in the blood. I need
Oh,
all my blessings. I'm not passing up any blessings or trying to
right,
or grabbing any undue curses. Um,
right.
So this one, there's just a few more slides, y'all. This is another addition to the tour. I'll be adding a cooking experience to the tour. I was interviewed by a YouTube personality. His name is Clevy Joe. He does a lot of interviews with diasporans in the Elmina Cape Coast area. And so the lady on the far right is his mom, and he invited me to learn how to cook a dish. And the dish that I asked to learn to cook was one of my favorite breakfast dishes, which is called wachi. And the wachi is black-eyed peas, but when you eat it, it looks like red beans. I thought it was red beans until I learned to cook it. But it's black-eyed peas and rice. And when you buy it on the street, they also the place that I would buy it would add noodles to it. Sometimes they would have a boiled egg. There's Gary on top, which is ground cassava, and then there's this tomato gravy on top, which is a really spicy tomato sauce, and all that goes on top of it. And I would buy it in a banana leaf. You know, it would be served in a banana leaf. And I could never eat it all. I would eat a quarter of it and I would be absolutely stuffed and, ready to take a nap and, put the rest in the refrigerator for, lunch or dinner. But it's a very heavy meal. That big meal would have cost me like, I don't know, $2 or something like that, $2.50. And you eat that and you're full all day long. It's just so darn heavy. So I never was able to truly eat a full Ghanaian meal because they eat really heavy. You know, they eat I learned how to make kinke, which is a corn version kind of a fufu, but it's just dense. You know, it's just dense starch. So anyhow, this was one of my most fun days, learning to make wachi with Clevy Joe's mom. That herb there is red sorghum leaf, and the water starts out white. And when you put that leaf, when you boil the leaf, that leaf turns it red. So that's why those black eyed peas look like red beans. And apparently, the leaf is also very medicinal. A lot of the things they cook with also have dual purposes. They're also herbs that help you with other things. So that was really fun. Another day, I went back a few weeks after this, and she taught me how to cook fried fish and shrimp. She taught me how to make kinke, which is like fufu but made with corn, which involves not pounding but some serious stirring. I tried really hard and I did it for a few minutes, and then I called that nice young lady over who was half my age, very experienced, and she just whipped it right on out and made it right. Um, so this is another of my uh, incredible new partnerships. This brother's name is Kofi, and Kofi comes from a line of jewelry makers. They've been making jewelry in gold for the royalty and such for a long time. These are the things that he makes. The things that he makes are completely made by hand. It's called sterling silver filigree. These things are rather high end. This is considered fine jewelry. You know, like this blue ring that I fell in love with cost $2,800. It's much more than I can afford. But what I will be working with is helping him to market these pieces in America and helping him find the right market. I know someone who went to Ghana and got their wedding rings custom made by him. So there is a market for it, but it's a pretty, high end market, and his things are just exquisite and incredible. And this is his little workshop that he does all of that in. It's let's see, just a very, very basic tools that he uses to work silver and gold in the way that his ancestors has done for generations. And this young lady, her name is Maury Jacks, and she is from the Bay Area as well. I understand that she had a coffee shop at the Malanga Center, someone told me. But she now has what's called the Healing House, and her partner here is Babalao. And the two of them work together and do spiritual work and also some physical healing work. As you can see from the picture to the far left, it's just a beautiful environment. It's a beautiful space. On the far right is his altar at the facility. So that is something that I'll be adding, is the opportunity to meet with them and to have them work with us to deconstruct the experience of the dungeons, and then also to be able to offer consultations, individual consultations to anyone who is so interested. And I did do several consults with him, and it was pretty incredible. Um, Cape Coast Coffee House. This is where we'll be going after the experience at the dungeons. This is just down the street from the dungeons. It's just a few doors down from the Healing House. It's owned by Brother Jeff Sanders, who is an Oakland local. In the center on the picture there, between Jeff and I, is his beautiful wife, Amina. Amina just had a beautiful baby girl about 2 weeks ago, so Jeff is the father of a brand new baby. And this is their shop, and so it's just another spot that many people meet at, many members of the diaspora, and will be one of the locations that we will meet and break bread as we start to again, just process the experience of the day after you have went through two of those dungeons in one day. You have a lot to process. So this is one of the places that we will do that at. And I think this is the last one, maybe. This brother, Minister Imhotep, I think, introduced me to Papa Wastic at a Sacramento event. Was it 2 winters ago, maybe 1 winter ago?
Yeah.
Uh, we were able to maintain contact, and he invited me to meet his mom and dad near Cocoon Park, and to bring some address back for his wife here in the Bay Area, which I did. So I was able to spend time with his mom and dad. Beautiful property near Cocoon Park, and just a beautiful facility. And I really have started listening to some of his music. He's got some very positive music, songs like Be Good and Do Good. So um, just a really interesting connection. He also turns out that he didn't tell me he was a chief in the area, but he's a chief in the neighborhood of the Cape Coast Coffee House and where Maury's healing uh, retreat center is. He is actually the chief of that area, so I didn't find that out until I was there. So, and so many beautiful cloths. These are just pretty things to look at. The presentation is pretty much done. That is both the trip and the following Panafest experience after the main tour trip. But I was so impressed by the cloths. Just so many beautiful, beautiful patterns and so many beautiful colors. And we just look so good in them. So I just had to share that with you all. Just a feast for your eyes. Just beautiful, beautiful patterns and colors on the backs of our beautiful people. And um, I was reassured by the creator that, my path is correct, and that I am doing the right work that I am supposed to be doing, because no matter where I am, I end up doing the same things with the same people. I spent a lot of time working with some seniors there and some of the elders and doing technical IT work and helping get people's computers working and getting some accounts together and that kind of stuff. But the other thing that I did a lot of is spend time with incredible children. I met first of all, I don't know if it's all of Africa. I suspect it's probably all of Africa, but Ghana is surely full of many, many children. There are just so many kids. So just lots of kids, lots of beautiful, beautiful children that I met all along the way. And you all know I love food and drinks, so I could not leave this presentation without giving you another visual feast of all the wonderful things that I filled my belly with.
Is that lobster there at the top, right there?
Yes, those are lobsters. Where I was able to get the lobsters delivered to me at my door at 9 o'clock in the morning. That's about half of them, and I got, I think, 8 or about 10 lobsters for 120 CDs. That's about $12.
Wow.
So what are the two green dishes? The one in the just center left a little bit, and then one below that left.
So the one, let's see, the one in the center with the spoon sticking out, that one, that is wachi. You see the beans kind of there, and it's kind of covered with the gari, and it's probably sometimes you get a piece of fish on it too, a piece of dry fish. So the greens in the bag are what's called contumbre, and it's their version of, really, it's like, seems closer to mustard greens because they cook kind of fast. But these are just a common green that you see a lot of, contumbre. Let me go from the top. So at the top, this was wachi and cabbage. Top left, wachi and cabbage and a fried egg. A lot of cabbage for breakfast. Like this combination of cabbage and carrots and bell peppers and stuff. That is a very common offering with breakfast there. This bread uh, is the bread is, oh, I'm gonna come back to the name of the bread. I've forgotten that quick. My favorite donut. It's like a donut. See, bofro. It's called bofro. And it's a Ghanaian donut. Not very sweet. They don't do a lot of sugar there. Um, I actually went there diabetic and came back not diabetic because there just was no sugar and no junk for me to eat. Um, but I love those. I every time I smelt one cooking on the street, I would have to stop the car and figure out where the smell was coming from. To the next to that, the green is indole. Those of you who eat Malong's food with Africa by the Bay, used to be at the Berkeley Flea Market and is at the lake a lot. This is what he makes. So this was indole made there. We had a Cameroonian young lady who stayed with us, and I asked her if she knew how to make indole because it was a Cameroonian dish. And she says, "Yes, I do. And I saw a bush growing out by the road. Would you like me to make you some?" And I said, "Yes." And a few hours later, this bowl got set in front of me. Um, and she added, that one was vegetarian. She cooked it another day with fish. Let's see. Next to that, that meat was, I think I ordered pork chops or something on that. And this was like just sliced pieces of pork and vegetable fried rice, a whole fish, and Amina's famous spring rolls. Jeff's wife is famous all over Cape Coast for spring rolls. These are Amina's famous spring rolls. And the sauce there is this, it's a Shito hot sauce that they make, that's good on everything. Let's see, going back to the far left, this is kinke, the one that you guys see, the one that looks like it's there's a corn husk and some fish on a plate. Inside that corn husk is the kinke. You prepare it, then you put it in that corn husk and you steam it to cook it. To the right of that is some giblets, um, fried fish. The bottom, the pineapple and the plantains, that was like a staple for me. I ate so much pineapple and so much plantain. And now I don't even want to eat pineapple because our pineapple is so not pineapple compared to that pineapple. So it really makes you have a no appreciation for American pineapple. Those pineapples are so sweet and juicy. Another typical breakfast, kind of in the middle with the fruit. I think this is wachi again. They eat a lot of these, like they're basically like the canned pinto beans. They eat that for breakfast. And then these were like some mushrooms, some sautéed mushrooms on the plate, and then the look like potatoes are probably fried cassava. Um, and let's see, on the far right, that's just another some type of meat, probably pork, because I don't eat beef. Um, to the left with the bell peppers and the fish, that's the indole with bell peppers and fish and shrimp. Um, the very bottom to the left is the green hot sauce that I just fell in love with. I actually learned how to make the hot sauce. Um, so it's a green hot sauce just made with their green peppers. And to the right was the other thing that was a regular staple for me. I had a lot of coconut water, and a lot of coconut meat. So those were these are a few. Oh, and my origin over here. The origin is an alcoholic beverage. It's got not a lot of alcohol in it. 5.5, I think it says. But it's a bitters based beer. So it's kind of sweet. It's not like a beer. It's more sweet. But it's got bitters and herbs in it as well. So I like the origins. And I believe that that is it. Yeah. Any questions?
I
Well, thank
had
you.
one.
Go ahead, Judy.
No, I'm yielding to you.
Oh, I was just going to say that I think it's great that African Americans are able to travel now, go to different places, and have these experiences, and to be able to share them with those of us that haven't traveled as of yet. Um, what was the weather like while you were there?
Hot,
Mm,
hot and wet, which is
yeah, yeah, it
it's
looks
either
like
hot.
it's a lot of gray.
It was very gray. There were very few really, really sunny days. There were a few sunny days, but the sunny days were far and few in between and made me think to myself, oh my God, how hot would I be if the sun were really shining? Because it was hot with no sun, and it's humid. It was
Mhm.
rainy season, so you have those days where it'll be hot, and then just out of nowhere, a little wind will kick up, and then this just this just a cloud burst comes down for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then it's gone, and it's back hot
And
again.
you encountered a lot of African Americans over there in that area, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a large population. There's a very big population of in Elmina, and Elmina has always been a transitory place. It's always been where different people have always been there. Even before slavery, it was a trading post. So there's always been a wide variety of people in Elmina.
Thank you.
I have a question. How did you navigate around the meat there, or did you eat the meat?
Oh, I eat meat. Yeah, I eat meat, but I ate a lot of fish. I would say I ate 90% of my diet was fish. Fish and seafood, just because most of my time was in Elmina. It's a fishing town. This uh how that picture, can you guys see the picture behind me? No. Uh
Yes,
yeah.
yes, we can.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, the picture behind me, that's Elmina. It's all about the fish there. Um, and then I like goat. My other favorite meat when I'm in Ghana is goat. I really enjoy eating the goat. And often it's skewers. So you kind of, you end up having your places that you kind of go, more and get to kind of know the people a little better. But I've been blessed, or I got a steel belly or something, because I've ate every skewer that I've encountered on every corner I could find it, and I've never had any problem with my belly yet.
The goat skewers typically have bones or not?
No, not too. It might be a little piece of bone or something, but for the most part, it's just meat. But with the fish, that was another thing. With the fish, when you eat the fish, like, they eat the bones over there. They grind. They have much better teeth. I was like, if my teeth were the quality of your teeth, I could do that. But see, I will be at the dentist, and I don't have one here. But they eat, like, they grind those bones down with like some of the meats, some of the skewers, like it might be a skin or something, really, really tough, where like I could chew it as hard as I can with all of my energy and nothing happens. But
Most of the
they eat that. They eat it and no problem. A lot. I won't say they, but a lot of I found a lot of Ghanaians. That's the way they've eaten, and I think that their teeth are stronger. I think they are stronger. They're very strong people.
most of the Americans you saw there were either from California or from New York.
Well, not necessarily. You kind of gravitate to who you know. So the circles that I was in, it was a lot of Californians in that circle. But I believe that there are people from, all over there. That little area there, because, Mama Imacus and Rabbi Kohen are from New York, and they're, well known on both sides of the water, and they attract a lot, and they're involved in a lot of the local things going on as well. Um, but no, I wouldn't say, the people that I was around, a lot of Californians, but I think that there are people from all over the country around.
And the huge market that was in Kumasi, the Kijeta market is in Kumasi.
Yes.
Thank you.
I had two questions. What about the did you have to get immunizations, or this might be not the best smartest question, but do you typically have to get what shots, or what do you normally recommend it to take before traveling to Ghana?
Yellow fever is probably the most, serious one that they seem to really care about. That's like the only requirement. There's no more COVID requirements. So just yellow fever. It will be,
Malaria? No.
they don't, they won't make you if you want to take a chance on getting malaria. They say, hey, come and join our hospital system if you like. Um, they do have local cures, local, remedies should you get malaria. And a lot of the Americans don't take malaria medicine, and most of them have had malaria once or more. It's almost like your initiation into really being there. It's like you get malaria. So
I know that's what Dr. Hilliard contracted malaria, but I don't think he was in Ghana.
I take my
He
medicine. I
he
take
left Ghana. He
yeah,
had just left Ghana, and went to Egypt.
yeah.
And,
I take the pills that they give me. You start taking the malaria pills a few days before you leave. You continue taking them for about a week after you come back. I take the malaria pills. I don't want to waste my good vacation time or visiting time being sick. Um, and I also do tetanus, because, there are nails and things, and, you just, I don't want to waste my time having to deal with, that kind of thing. Um, so, I do the basic immunizations that I would get that I if I was here. If you're a person who doesn't do immunizations and you just don't want to do that or you don't believe in it, no one is going to make you.
And my second question was, what about the electricity? Do they have the cutoff that you hear about? I forgot what it's called when the lights power goes off frequently.
Yes. Yes, they do. It was very good the time I was there. I would say I only experienced maybe two or three, and it wasn't more than an hour or so. Um, since I've been gone, it seems that it's been quite a bit more, a little bit more often. But yeah, the grid is unreliable there, and you can count on several times a month that your power will go out. And the same might happen with your water. Once or twice a month, you might have your water. We got a notice while I was there telling us that the water would be out for like half a day. Uh, and then there was maybe once where it was out without a warning.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What do you do when when you don't have access to water?
Everybody's got, like where I stayed, uh, most people have a lot of extra water on hand. The place that I stayed, for the majority of my extra 2 months, beautiful place, but didn't have hot water. So I would have to do kettle baths. A lot of people have to take African baths there. Um, and it really made me feel kind of bad about my bathing habits here in the States. Um, so most people have big water buckets. Like in your bathroom, you might have a big old like a trash can that's
Hey,
filled with
let me
water,
call you back.
and that is for that day that the water goes off so that you can still bathe. You can still pour some water in your toilet and flush your toilet. You could go still, rinse your vegetables or whatever. So most people keep some extra water on hand just in anticipation of that. People who have regular running water in their houses often still have a tank on their roof as a backup. In case that happens with the water. Some people have generators for the power, but most people just, you know, that the power might go off. I remember we were at one of the Thursday parties and the power went off, and the party just kept right on going. People just went in their purse, pulled out their flashlight, set it on the table, and kept on going.
there was a disco song back in the 70s called Flashlight, as I recall. All
And they
right.
probably were in Ghana.
Yeah. Parliament.
Are there any other questions?
Well, I just, as a follow-up to that, what about in the city, like the most urban areas where they have, I guess Accra, the most urban cities?
And the
Do they
power
still have all of this? Mhm.
Yep, when the power's out, the power's out, unless, you know, you're on some very special part of the grid, i.e., the biggest church in town or something is on your grid, or, a big politician or something, or you've got a generator. If you've really got money and stuff, if you're, affluent, you have a generator and your generator kicks on and, that's that. But
So
the
the plumbing, toilets, most people, do they mostly have toilets or outhouses, or how is the plumbing
Most people have
and
toilets.
showers?
Yeah, almost everybody's got, a regular toilet. Every once in a while, you'll go to a public place, a bar or a gas station that might have those outdoor latrine type situation where it's, kind of like a, what do you say, almost like just a little trench, and you kind of little block that you stand on, and there you'll find that every once in a while, but most people have regular old bathrooms and toilets. The only thing in toileting that is different for us is it's not that a person's house isn't up to date, or that their plumbing isn't good, or that their toilet isn't good. It's that the country's sewer system is not great. So flushing a bunch of toilet paper, and as Americans, we are very toilet paper heavy, and flushing a lot of it down those toilets, it blocks up their toilet system. So you'll find many places a sign that says, please put the waste paper in the can. Almost every bathroom will have a can that will have like a covered lid, so that you can dispose of toilet paper in the trash rather than in the toilet. So that's the most, that's the biggest kind of cultural change that you have to deal with, regularly.
All right, it's 6:26, and we have been taken to Ghana. A very nice presentation, Sir Darnisha. That
Great
was
presentation.
great, great.
Yeah.
Now, when does your tour go this summer? What do you have the dates already set?
Yes, it is going to be June, like the second week of June. Let me see, June 9th through 20th.
Right, and how long will that be?
That's 11 days. And what I am considering is providing an optional extension if people would like to, like, add an additional, 4 or 5 days in Elmina, just chilling out on the beach, like not doing a whole bunch of nothing, or doing the spiritual work with the spiritual partners in Elmina, but not something really curated, but just a potential extension if people want it.
All right,
Mr. Bill's hand up.
Minister Bill, yes, go ahead.
Yes, did Mama Marcus say much about why she chose Rwanda?
She just says that she loves it, that she says it's very clean. Like, I didn't say, really any negatives. Some of the negatives about Ghana is there's some, kind of dirty areas, the recycling, like they need someone to come in there with a recycling plan and, get all that plastic and paper and stuff off the streets and out of the waterways. Uh, she says those type of things are just not an issue in Rwanda, that it's extremely clean, that you can go sit in the gutters there and comfortably enjoy your lunch. I know they have a once a month, the whole country cleans everything once a month. I know that they have a requirement of their parliament that I believe it's like 75, 80% or something female. There's a very strong mandate for female leadership there, which has led to peace and, rational, rational workings of government and things. So that's what she says. And she says, well, the other thing in Ghana, it's hard to get through life in Ghana without what they call dashing. You be tipping people for things. You want to get your papers done, it's going to cost you a dash. You want to get past the million road. The police are not going to hurt you. They're not going to beat you. They're not going to take you to jail for nothing. But you might get stopped at these road stops and you be making these donations. You be donating 10 CDs to their church every time you pass by the road stop. Um, that doesn't happen, she says, in Rwanda. Like the price is the price. Um, I don't know. I've not been there. I am not a world traveler, so I cannot say. But those are some of the things that she shared with me.
Brother Damani. Go ahead.
Yes, a beautiful presentation, Sister Darnisha. The Reverend, Mr. Smalls, James Smalls, or Dr. Smalls stay near. What city he's in?
I don't know. This was a festival, so he was at the festival in Cape Coast. I believe that he is in the Accra area, but I really don't know. I don't know, brother.
Okay.
Brother Damani, he has part ownership in a hotel there, but I'm not
Yeah.
sure what the
What city is in?
yeah. I think it is in Accra.
Okay. And I have one more question. I heard you say something about pickpocketing. Is that is a lot of crime? Is it crime? How's the crime in Ghana?
I felt way safer than I feel walking down the street in Oakland. Um, but crimes of opportunity are there. If you're gonna be foolish, is somebody there to take advantage of that foolishness? So, and then you combine that with, there's always crimes of opportunity, but factor in the poverty factor. People are living off of 500 CDs a month there. That's like $50. Like that's like what you're getting paid for the job that you get dressed up in a nice clothes and go sit behind a desk all day long for 8 hours. And that's what you get at the end of the day. Um, and that's, there are people making less than that, and that's common. That's, if the other one of my concerns is like the youth are very displeased there because there's not a lot of opportunity. There's not jobs. There's no place for them to be able to earn money, which is that conversation I said that they were talking about with the marriages, like how you gonna do the things that you need to do if you don't got no job to. Um, so um,
Okay.
does that answer your question?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Yeah, people
One
don't have
more,
no money.
one more quick question. What about nightlife? Like, well, two hospitals, and what about clubs? Like going out at night? Is there a curfew or how?
Well, let's see. I could tell you a little bit about both. I didn't, well, again, I hang out in Elmina. Elmina is a smaller town, but and Cape Coast is like the town, the bigger town. There's Cape Coast, the region, and there's Cape Coast, the town. So the town of Cape Coast is a little more lively than Elmina. Elmina is a very small little town. So there are clubs. There's a number of clubs along the water. There's a waterway that connects Elmina and Cape Coast, and there's a number of nice little places along the waterway. So there is nightlife on Saturday and Sunday nights. You hear the music playing. Um, if you really though want, the real nightlife, I suspect that Accra is the place for that. Like Accra is the place with the nice, the fancy clubs, and I compared like Accra is New York, LA. All of the glittery things are there, all the fancy things. Um, Cape Coast, you'll find some places that are nice, but probably not as nice as Accra. And you'll also find some very, laid back. Like I would go, there's a little club not far from One Africa. It's the little local club, and I would go there. Um, it's just a little nondescript place. Little bit of music. It'd be kids running in and out and stuff. Um, so some very informal places as well. And then in terms of medical care, unfortunately, I had a little bit of a medical issue while I was there, so I did have an opportunity to learn a little bit about the medical system. I got a bite that got infected, and first I went to the market women, and they told me what to do. They said to grind charcoal with sea salt and to put that on it, and that would draw out the infection. Um, then I went to the pharmacy the next day because their pharmacies are like clinics. You go to the pharmacy, you just walk in, no card or anything. You tell them your problem or show it to them. They give you what they think you need. So I showed the pharmacy, and the pharmacy said, "Oh yeah, that's an infection. Maybe a bite. It's infected. You need antibiotics." And so the pharmacy prescribed me the antibiotics and the bug bite cream that I needed. And I used that. But then I started thinking I wanted something official that because I thought I had travel insurance and I could use that to help me with my travel insurance claim, which, long story short, I didn't have, but wanted to get something official. So I went to the hospital the following day, and it was painful. It hurt a lot. Um, to go to the hospital, it cost me about 150 CDs to get a ID card to be seen at the hospital. That's about $15. I had to wait about an hour, maybe 45 minutes to an hour, to be seen in the emergency room. They looked at it, determined that I was not dying and that I needed to go to the outpatient clinic. So they sent me to the outpatient clinic. That cost me about another 120 CDs, another $12, and another 30, 40 minutes wait. They basically gave me the exact same prescription at the hospital that the pharmacy on the corner had given me the day before. Um, I, took the antibiotics and I was fine. I was out of there. Oh, I was given a blood test so that they could see if they could determine what kind of infection it was. Um, and um, and that was it. I was out of there within maybe 2 hours for all of this stuff, and then I had to go get my prescription. My prescription cost me about, I don't know, $10 for some. I got some activated charcoal, and I got some antibiotics, and and a cream. That was like, I don't know, $10 or $12 or something like that. And I was in and out of there within a couple of hours. So I was very impressed. Now, how things looked, and whether everything was all brand new and shining like we're used to in America. It looked much, I don't know, less formal, than what we're used to. But the service that I got was fine. And what I did there, if I had done that through my Kaiser insurance and looked at the true bill, I'm sure that the bill would have been, at least $1,000. And I got that same
Were
service.
you able to determine?
It was
Were
by the
you able
time.
to determine what you got?
No, because you didn't see it. If you don't see it, you don't see it, and it wasn't something that was so, no, I was never really able to determine if it was like a spider or something that bit me, or was it just like a mosquito bite that got infected? Because for the first few weeks that I was there, oh my God, the mosquitoes, they just ate me. So I wasn't ever sure about exactly what that was. And then they said that there is also a possibility that sometimes when you are new to the environment, that you can just get a skin infection just kind of from the air, almost not even a wound, just any little thing. Like when you're a foreigner in a foreign country and it's just different bacteria, that sometimes you'll get a bacterial skin infection. So they were not very worried. I took the medicine for a few days. The pain subsided. It went away and it didn't leave a scar. So, I think that they did good. And I know that it cost me, less than $30. And I have no doubt that the American medical system would have bilked me for at least $1,000, maybe two, for that.
That's their dash.
Thank you.
All right. What a great presentation. Let's take ourselves off mute and just give her a great round of applause.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, I do.
Good
Yes,
job,
very
Sister
Beautiful.
well.
Darnisha.
Thank you, Sister Darnisha.
Welcome, family.
Well done.
Thank you,
Beautiful.
sis. Thank you.
Thank you,
Great.
thank you.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Before we leave, I'd like for us to just look at who our guest is going to be for next week. And he's actually a youth that grew up with my sons. His name is Asante Cleveland, and he has written a book called Walking Through the Dark, but he's also a former NFL player. He even played on the Niners for a while. He played for the Cowboys, and I don't know who this orange team is, but he's going to be joining us next week. Asante Jabari Cleveland. Those of you that live up here in the Sacramento area, he'll be on Channel 3 sometimes, covering some sports with that other brother that I can't think of that does the sports. So I hope that you make it for next time, and then please don't forget tomorrow, SOS, Study of Sacred Scriptures, tomorrow at 6, from 6 to 7 Pacific time, and on this same Zoom. All right. Anything else?
Minister Motep,
Yes.
is this put on YouTube? By
Yes.
chance?
Yes, it is.
All right, thanks.
Mhm. All right. Well, we had a nice turnout. Glad to see all the beautiful. Maia, it's great to see you. How are you doing?
Hi.
All right. Great to see you. And all the names that are on here. Somebody has their Samsung. I didn't get their names. I didn't get that name. If you'd like to identify yourself, I'm just curious who you are. Glad to see brother Henry Baskerville, all the way from Chico. And thank you, Mama Darnisha, for dropping those things in the chat. Your trip information and things of that nature. All right, great. Yeah, he played.
Thanks, Barbara, for joining us. Barbara Smith-Giles from Atlanta.
Thank you, Barbara. Yes, we've seen you once before, and glad you could join us. All right. This is going to be a hard crash, so I'm just gonna cut it off right now. All right. See you guys tomorrow. Hopefully, we're going to be studying sacred scriptures.